Next, we will talk about driving and path and spline. So here we have additional blueprint, which is called BP path. So you can put it in the scene, and it is a simple spline. You can just drag the point of the spline, and to create more points, hold Alt on your keyboard and move further. So we have the spline right now, and we can attach the car to the spline in the driving section. Here, we just select the blueprint path. Now the car is attached here, and you can change the spline points to make the path more curved, and the car will be following it. So if we create now level sequence, let's create the new one, cinematics level sequence, ls path, and we can add our actors into the sequencer. So select your actor, click track, add actor, and add your car, and add the path here. So in the driving section, we have also some settings related to the path. We have the path side offset, which can move the car to the side, and all of these parameters where you have here with this icon are keyable in the sequencer. So in the driving, you can also change the side offset of the car. That is really easy for moving the car and going zigzags, or if you would like to reveal other car behind it. So basically, like if your camera is set here, you can easily move the car and pass it by the camera, which will be much more easier creative choice than instead of changing the spline and making it go with like zigzags like that. So instead of that, you can just set up the offset point and make the car move to the side. Path response speed defines how fast the car will adjust its rotation based on the path. So if we have this path, and to move the car on this path, we need to use the distance traveled parameter, which is also located here, distance traveled. So we can also keyframe that. If you click on this, it will add this property into the sequencer and put the keyframe here. So if we put the keyframe there, further in the sequencer, and change the value, the car will drive through this path. But as you can see, it is sometimes not able to, get with this curve really fast. So if we just go, sometimes it just can't make it in time to make this turn. So you can change the path response speed to 10, and it will be aligning just straightforward for this curve which we have created. Also, we can use the whole car rotation. So if you'd like to move the car sideways, for example, so let's add also this one as a keyframe and change this parameter in the sequencer and move it sideways, and it will be moving sideways. As you can see, the wheels are not turning when the car moves sideways because it only uses the forward vector, and the wheels will be turning when the car drives forward or backward. This can be done if you are doing some crash animations or the car sliding. You can rotate the car with this whole car rotation parameter. Let's reset that one and delete the whole car rotation parameter from here right now. Also, there is a drift function. When you add the drift, the car will try to maintain the position of the wheels opposite from the drift side. If we go like this also, you will see that you have the wheels still looking in the direction of the movement. You can also animate this parameter by adding the keyframe of the drift. Let's go in the very beginning and let's move it other way around. I think this is just too much of the degree. Let's add like 20 and it will be going like this, higher, and then it's just like rotated back by using the drift on the other side. So it will go like this. I know that's not a good example, but that's just the overview of the functions. We'll create the proper animatic later. So you can do drifting with these parameters. You can adjust this one. And if I reset all of that, let's just set all of the settings to its defaults. No path offset, no rotation, whole car rotation, also reset. And reset the transform rotations. So, and drift too, because drifting is set to this value. So, as you can see by these points, that the wheels are turning and the car basically steering. The steering wheel also is steering based on the spline points which we have here. So if I adjust the spline points, you'll see that the car doing the steering here. By default, it steers automatically using the spline angle, but you can disable auto steering on path and basically animate the steering as much as you want, as you like by yourself. So if you think that you don't get the result which you expect from the steering, automatic steering, you can disable auto steering on path. If I enable it back, it will be overriding the parameter of the steering and will be steering on the path. Burnouts are pretty much self-explanatory. So if I put 10 for front and 10 for back, we'll have the wheels rotating. It is good for doing burnouts when the car just stands still. So if the front burnout is 0 or like this, or if you'd like to make the animation where the car is just like starting or doing some drifting at the place and just rotates on the place, and you need the wheels rotation for the rear wheel much faster. Steering noise is giving some cars some wobble when it is drifting, so it will imitate the driver trying to maintain position during the drift. But if the drift is 0, nothing is happening. So this parameter, steering noise, is dependent on the drift parameter. So if we go minus 20 degrees of drift, maybe even more, let's try minus 40. Yeah, pretty much big angle. And also with the body leaning in the suspension settings, by default it's 4. You see, as I said, it will lean on the turn and it will lean on the drift. But we really need to adjust this position because our car is really low, and body roll is the perfect thing for that purpose. So we can just like move it a little bit and the car will not be, getting over the wheel. So it will work with the wheel not touching the arc or not going through the arc. So that's one of the things which you can do for the steering and drifting. Let's reset that one, or change the body leaning just to something like 2 or 1. So there is still some leaning, and you can adjust it just a little bit like this. So yeah, that's how we can approach the drifting, and you can keyframe all of these parameters, as I said, always, and work with that one. Brake lock is self-explanatory. So for example, if we give some burnout here, so rear burnout set to 10 or maybe to 20, so we have our wheel just rotating here, and we would like to give it a brake, or if you have the hand brake which locks rear wheels like this, and then goes into motion again. So you can work with this brake lock, and it locks it at this certain position where it is positioned, and then it will continue rotating. For the burnout, you also can go with negative values, like -20, and it will be burning out backwards. Also, this multiplies the rotation. If you are doing, for example, slow-mo, you can slow down the rotation of the wheel by this value, by multiplying it by 0.5, for example. And this will multiply the current rotation of your car driving in the scene and make it slower. So let's reset all of that and reset path response speed. So let's try quickly animate a simple animation of car driving. Let's detach it from path. By the way, there is a thing to detach it from path. If you go into driving, and if you click detach from path, then all of this will be keyframed outside of the path, so those settings will not work which you have for the path. And you can also keyframe that one, so when it is enabled, the car will be detached from the path. So basically, when it is green, it is detached, and it is attached to the path when it is red. So if you would like to detach it at some point, you can do this pretty easily during the render or sequence. Now let's do this simple animation, and for now we'll disable this path attachment here. So as you can see, when it's detached, that will not be using any path. Let's delete this one from the sequence. Let's delete this one and create the simple sequence of the car driving and braking with this animation. So the car will be driving straight, then braking before the turn and doing the acceleration here again. First of all, we need to create the path. Again, let's open our content browser, get the path, put it into the scene, and for better quality of path, because you really need to focus on how you create the points and make them really, really smooth. So I switch from perspective to top perspective and just animating the path, making the curve really, really smooth and trying just to avoid unnecessary turns. So it should not look like this, because otherwise it will be super strange how the car goes. You need to consider that those distances which car travel are really big, and you need try to keep as much distance between these points, so it will be smoother and smoother. So this one probably here, you need really try to make them as smooth as possible, so the car will not be doing some strange, really strange animations, and otherwise it will feel unnatural and not believable. And our purpose is to make the most believable videos and the car animation. Then we go like this, probably here and here, here again, so something like that. Probably it should cut the corner even harder, like that. Maybe it should be also going here, or the closer to the turn point here. That is already, see that is looking strange. That should not be like that. So we would need to fix this one by changing the distance between those key points. So let's go with the search path, select it again. And let's move it somewhere over there, just to make it as smooth as possible for this sort of turn. I know that's too much, but just to give you an idea how it works. Something like this. I think this is good. Come into the chicane here and going out. Probably this one even can be cut a little bit more. This corner. This looks, I guess this looks fine. I think, yeah. That looks probably believable at this point. Here will be some disturbance, so we need to align it a little bit so it goes really, really smooth. Okay, so this is good. That's enough. We will be making the one turn right now. Here we need to select our path right now and add it to sequencer and add our car to the sequencer. Because if you add the car in the sequencer, you can actually attach it to multiple paths. So you can have two passes, for example. Here, if I duplicate that by holding Alt on my keyboard, and here if I make the car, select this one, the second one. The first one is the wrong one. It's some Unreal Engine component. We don't need this one. We need the second one. And you see, it will only show you the one pass, the one which is currently present in the sequence. But if you want to add the second pass, you need to add the path too. And in that case, it will allow you to attach this rig into the path which you have added to the sequencer. So let's delete the path number 2 currently. We don't need it. And we are the sequencer. We will attach our car to this path. And here we need to disable the attach from the path. So let's do this again by attaching it back. Now it works. So let's animate it a little bit. I will set it to 24 FPS currently and switch back to perspective. So I'm using sequencer always on 24 FPS as it during the render gives you the cinematic, I would say, feeling, and also that really saves your time during the renders, because if you are rendering in path tracing, that could be time consuming. Now within the rig, we need to add the parameter, or here in the sequencer, we can select the parameter for distance traveled. Put it here, make it linear, and let's move it to like the end. I think this one is about 5 seconds currently. So in 5 seconds, the car should pass at least this turn and go further. So let's put it here, and again we can just change this value here or in the rig, and then we can create another keyframe at this point. But I prefer animating in the sequencer as it's faster and more efficient. So see, the car is just like starting, moving here and going further. Let's put the keyframe and see how fast that goes. Goes pretty smooth. I like it. But maybe it can go even further, like here, so we'll have it move faster. Let's check out the speed, actually, which was I was talking about, that we have the speed in kilometers. Let's see what is the speed for traveling here. 180 kilometers per hour. Which is pretty damn fast. Let me just disable the auto pitch because I want the car driving all the time, and I will be animating this braking myself. So see, it's just too fast for passing this distance. So we need to make it brake somewhere over here before it reaches the turn. even earlier, I think, but yeah, that should be fine. Let's put it here. It will go linearly, so the logic behind my all animations, I always use linear start and linear end because it's rarely shown when the car really actually stops, but we will also animate this. So when the car goes here, it's linear, but then it should be braking, and the braking should not be, you know, really like direct movement. It should slow down a little bit, like smoothly. So I think the braking even should start earlier. So let's delete this keyframe. So it moves linearly here, but during the braking at this point, it should be a cubic keyframe. So we add the keyframe, put here a cubic, and let's see how it looks like. Still too damn fast. So we need to create another keyframe, preferably cubic, here, and then lower the distance that the car passes during that time. And in this case, we will have that the car goes slower and then it increases the speed again. So it goes for the, again, see, so it goes, then brakes, then increasing the speed. We can even move those frames here, or basically widen the distance between of those. So we have this one. We should also slow down a little bit, change the distance so it brakes and then it accelerates again. We can also decrease the speed of acceleration by moving this frame a little bit further, even outside of our sequencer, because this basically defines the time, how much of the distance the car will pass during the over time. So here it goes. So it goes slower, and then it goes with a higher speed outside. So maybe even that is too fast. Yeah, definitely it's too fast. Let's shorten the distance here, which the car passes, and then shorten the distance there that the car passes during that turn. And as you see, it's like gaining a lot of acceleration, so it should be still going slower here and here. So let's put another frame and also decrease the distance the car passes. So this should be probably linear. Let's see how that looks. Too fast acceleration. So we can again move this further or decrease the distance at this point. So probably here we can increase the distance a little bit, distance between these keyframes, and a little bit less distance here. That already feels real. The car goes 180 and drops to 120, even 90 at the apex, and then it goes faster again. Here we can even increase, I think, the distance a bit now. It's always trial and error. You need just to define those things, but imagining how much time will it take by using the chaos vehicle just, you know, kills my mind. Nice, that works. And here we have the proper animation. Let's see the point where it's braking, so we can have a look. Let's go in there and then it brakes. We can set up right now the parameter for our brake heat. So I prefer starting it here. We can add temp, brake temperature, the parameter that we have created, or you can again click here and put the keyframe right away. So brake temperature, here it is 0, then it goes probably until there. Let's make it heat a little bit, like 1 maybe, and see how it goes. And get it ventilated and cooled down at this point. And if we add the camera, which will be look at tracking at our actor to track, pick the rig, enable look at tracking, interpolation speed. Let's have a look how it goes. This one we can shorten, so it will accelerate faster when it's going out from us. So that's basic configuration of any sort of animation. That is really non-destructive approach. Each time you hit render, you get the same result. You'll be getting the same result from this render. You can attach 2 cars to the spline, create 2 splines, and that will work really, really nice. And no physics, no slipping or skidding. And if you try to do the same approach with a chaos vehicle, you'll probably spend a lot of time on that, and that would be really, really hard to recreate. Or if the client asks for any changes, you will spend a lot of time implementing them because you need to hit take recorder each time. And here we quickly created the simple animation, driving on the path with the brakes even getting heated. And we can actually add also the brake light when it brakes. So same here, we can go on the brake, hit the button, hit the keyframe, go further, or yeah, go further here, add another brake and enable it from this point there, and it will be even hitting on the brakes with the light, and then disable it already here. So this is as simple as that. We have animated the brake lights, the turn, and even the brake hit. We can make it also drift by adding some drift setting. The same here. Select the car, go to driving, select drift, put a keyframe somewhere like further away here. We can set up another keyframe for the drift, adjust it, maybe like, well, 30 degrees is cool, but we need to see how fast is it happening. Probably too early, maybe here. Let's grab 2 keyframes and move there. And then it goes into the drifting stage. Let's watch it from this angle. Yeah, you see it's choppy right now. It's just what I said. So we need to just increase the edited tick rate to 120 because I have a lot of FPS in my scene. Let's see, now it's smooth. Yes, and probably at this point should be getting out of the drift. So go on the drifting stage. And here that should be going to decrease the amount of drift. Here almost none should be present, or even 0. Let's see how fast is that. Maybe too fast action. Well, something like that. You need to play around a little bit. Obviously, it's like getting too much of the body lean will body roll. So we will compensate that when the drift starts. So body roll here, drifted there too much. Body roll, set it here. The keyframe, pick this keyframe, and basically unroll it a little bit. Yep, that's what it does. Probably too fast, but still looking cool. That's it, how you can easily animate on driving spline.